apologized for the anti-Semitic comments that he made on a podcast on June 30th. Viacom CBS announced on Tuesday, that they were cutting ties with Nick, and that that is the company of VH1, which aired Wild and Out, a show that Nick hosted and produced.
Yeah, but yesterday Fox announced that they are not firing Nick from hosting The Masked Singer. So first, let's start with Nick's apology. He wrote, "First and foremost, I extend my deepest and most sincere apologies to my Jewish sisters and brothers for the hurtful and divisive words that came out of my mouth during my interview with Richard Griffin. They reinforce the worst stereotypes of a proud and magnificent people, and I feel ashamed of the uninformed and naive place that these words came from. While the Jewish experience encompasses more than 5,000 years, there's so much I've yet to learn. I've had at least a minor history lesson over the past few days, and to say it is eye-opening would be a vast understatement. I want to assure my Jewish friends, new and old, that this is only the beginning of my education. I am committed to deeper connections, more profound learning, and strengthening the bond between our two cultures today and every day going forward."
So Fox has revealed today that they are not cutting ties with Nick after speaking with them. Fox tells us he is clear and remorseful that his words were wrong and lacked both understanding and context, and inadvertently promoted hate. This was important for us to observe. Nick has sincerely apologized and quickly taken steps to educate himself and make amends. On that basis, and given a belief that this moment calls for dialogue, we will move forward with Nick and help him advance this important conversation broadly. Fox condemns all forms of hate directed toward any community, and we will combat bigotry of any kind.
Christine says, too little, too late. His Masked Singer show needs to go too. Yeah, you surprised, Andrea, that he's still employed by Fox?
I am surprised, but at the same time, we're in this really, we're in a time where it's cancel culture. You do something wrong and people want you to lose your job and they want you gone. I'm disappointed in Nick's actions. I am happy that he has apologized, but I do want to go back, and I'm not really big on apologies. Personally, I feel like people say what they really feel. And what I would really want to ask him is like, okay, say you have these beliefs. Why wouldn't you have a fair conversation and bring a Jewish person to the table so you could have a real discussion? You just sitting there, and you have so much. He has a syndicated show that's supposed to come out this September on CBS. Is that going to happen? There's so many questions I have about the actions and the way that he approached this whole situation that to me seems so irresponsible and very ignorant. And, NBA legend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar made a really great statement saying, we're in a time where we're talking about anti-Black racism. Nick Cannon is a Black man who's been very vocal about what's been going on. He's attended a lot of the protests. And it's like, we can't at the same time be making anti-Semitic comments as we're asking for us to be treated equally. Why would you even think to engage in this type of hurtful rhetoric? And if you want to have a discussion about the beliefs or things that you've read, you have to have a fair discussion. You should have brought someone to the table and say, this is the discussion I want to have. Let's have an open discussion about, about this religion, about where we feel we are in history. And he didn't do that. And he really failed. I am surprised that he still has both his jobs, but I think this is also a great opportunity. And he mentions it for conversation so that he can educate himself along with a lot of other people who share this belief.
Yeah, and I think that sitting there having the conversation or talking the way that he was talking, sitting there with Griff, that was just about the worst person on planet Earth, at least top 5 that you could be sitting there and having that conversation with, given his, history with anti-Semitic remarks. I will say that his apology to me was one of the better apologies that I've seen from a celebrity. He wasn't sorry that somebody was offended. He wasn't sorry that you took it the wrong way. It was actual genuine remorse, especially because after day one, he did sort of double down on it. And I think that if we call for apologies and we put people in a position of where we want them to grow, I don't think we can live in a world where people are not allowed to learn from mistakes. And I think that his statement clearly has come to some sort of realization, even if it is 2 days. Sometimes it's things people have said 20 years ago. Sometimes it's 2 days ago. But I believe what he said. And I don't know what else you could do, because we've seen this so often where people are things from their past come up and they say sorry, and sorry is never good enough. And once they apologize once, they never stop apologizing, because the mob won't allow them to learn and they won't allow them to grow. And I will say this, what he said was truly awful. But I think that if he is remorseful and he does want to learn and he is ready to sort of do the work as they say, I don't know what more you can ask from Nick Cannon at this point, other than, to accept his apology and just wait for the result.
I want to ensure my Jewish friends, new and old, that this is only the beginning of my education. I am committed to deeper connections, more profound learning, and strengthening the bond between our two cultures today and every day going forward. Notably, the apology does not mention Viacom CBS, who announced they're ending their relationship with Nick, citing his remarks on the June 30th episode of his podcast. Before issuing his apology to the Jewish community, Nick hit back at Viacom CBS, writing in a Facebook post that he, quote, will not be bullied, silenced, or continuously oppressed by any organization, group, or corporation. He also demanded an apology from the company, as well as full ownership of his improv show, Wild and Out, which airs on MTV, which is also a Viacom CBS property. We've reached out to the company to see if Nick's latest statement has affected their decision, but in the meantime, we do know that he will continue as the host of The Masked Singer over on Fox. In a statement, the network explains, he is clear and remorseful that his words were wrong and lacked both understanding and context and inadvertently promoted hate. This was important for us to observe. Nick has sincerely apologized and quickly taken steps to educate himself and make amends. Adding, Fox condemns all forms of hate directed toward any community, and we will combat bigotry of any kind. Earlier today, Nick revealed that he'll be taking some time away from his syndicated radio show. Tweeting in part, I will use this time to establish an action plan towards real, impactful change and advocacy aimed at bringing people together. Nick also has a talk show in the works that is set to debut in October.